Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft, is preparing for his trip to China. But it is not to promote his new software, nor to introduce his new computer, but to meet with China's President Xi Jinping. This is the first time in recent years that President Xi has met with a foreign entrepreneur. It seems that President Xi plans to add some new materials to his Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era class. Imagine this scene. President Xi says to Bill, welcome to China. We have a brand new app that I hope you can try. It's not WeChat, it's not Douyin, it's our Learning Powers the Nation app, which can help you understand how I lead this country. Gates might respond, President Xi, I think I already have enough apps. I've even deleted Facebook and Twitter, do I really need another app? Then President Xi might say, Bill, this app not only helps you understand Chinese political thought, but it also helps you build a community for a shared future on a global scale. This will be your next big project. I know you have a habit of wanting to solve global problems. Then Gates might laugh and say, President Xi, I've never considered applying the thought of socialism with Chinese characteristics to my philanthropy, but I'll give it a try. Then Gates might say, President Xi, your anti-corruption campaign is really influential. I heard that this time you even started cleaning up the live streaming industry. I'm thinking if you continue like this, should I be worried that Microsoft's business in China will be affected? President Xi might laugh and reply, Bill, as long as you have no corrupt practices, you have nothing to worry about. Then Gates might respond, President Xi, you know I've always been an honest man. I haven't hidden anything even after my divorce with Melinda. Speaking of Xi Jinping's thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, let's talk about an interesting topic in China. The thematic education work of studying Xi Jinping's thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era. First of all, I have to tell you that this thematic education work is not a small matter, it's a mandatory course for every official, businessperson, and soldier of the Chinese Communist Party. It sounds a bit like the kind of course we had to take as kids, whether we liked it or not, like mathematics. Alright, I admit, this comparison may not be entirely accurate. After all, if you didn't understand in math class, it was probably just your math teacher yelling at you, but if you didn't understand in the thematic education work of studying Xi Jinping's thought, well, the situation could be quite different. Recently, I saw a news that the Central Guidance Group for the Thematic Education of Xi Jinping's thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era held a forum in Beijing. I thought, wow, the name of this meeting is so long, even longer than the most difficult course I chose in college. I imagine if I were at that meeting, I would probably fall asleep before the name of the meeting was finished reading. Of course, I know it's an important meeting, but imagine, you tell your friend you're going to a meeting, and then you start saying the full name of the meeting. By the time you're finished, your friend might have already made a phone call, made a cup of coffee, and even had time to watch an episode of a TV show. For those who carry out this thematic education, they have their own challenges. Imagine guiding so many people to understand and learn this thought. It may be harder than solving an advanced math problem. You have to understand the characteristics of each unit, find the problems, urge the rectifications, and make it orderly. It's a huge challenge. They might need an army of assistants and a supercomputer to complete this task. You know, there's a new way of learning that's becoming popular lately. It's the quotations from Xi Jinping thought contest. It's like a talent show, where you can not only learn this thought but also showcase your knowledge and talent. If I ever get a chance to participate in such a competition, I would definitely show my stand-up comedy as my talent. But I guess I might need to follow the party, listen to the party, and then learn how to do stand-up comedy guided by Xi Jinping thought. The Chinese Communist Party's Politburo has been unusually quiet recently, with no meeting announcements being made. We all know, a normal team always sends out notices for meetings, even if it's just to tell everyone whether lunch will be sandwiches or pizza. You might wonder, isn't such a long silence an indication that they are discussing some big secrets? But I don't think there's a need to worry too much. After all, we all know that the main purpose of a meeting is to decide the time and place of the next meeting, right? Hello everyone, I'm your news anchor, Yali. We're here to provide you with one-stop news and talk show performances about China. We hope you can enjoy your daily dose of Chinese news with laughter and joy. The United States is considering ending tariff exemptions for Chinese e-commerce goods. A recent report from a global supply chain verification company revealed that Pinduoduo's e-commerce platform, Temu, has violated U.S. laws by selling products made in Xinjiang to U.S. consumers. A bipartisan group of U.S. lawmakers has proposed a new bill to eliminate tariff exemptions that are widely used for e-commerce sellers shipping from China to the U.S. fashion e-commerce giants Shein and Temu, a cross-border e-commerce platform under Pinduoduo, are among the major beneficiaries of such exemptions, and revenues of many Chinese companies may be affected as a result. On June 13, U.S. President Biden met with outgoing NATO Secretary General Stoltenberg at the White House. Stoltenberg stressed that Putin absolutely cannot win this war, or it will send a message to the world and China's authoritarian leaders that they can get what they want when they use force. Biden reaffirmed the U.S.'s firm commitment to Article 5 of the NATO Charter. Meanwhile, China's Special Representative for Eurasian Affairs Li Wei, in an op-ed published after his trip to Europe, stated that conflicts can only be resolved through negotiation, and the earlier the ceasefire and negotiation, the sooner peace can be achieved. During his election campaign, Biden vowed to make Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed, who ordered the killing and dismemberment of a dissident, a pariah. Now, these seem to be empty words. Using Saudi Arabia's wealth, influence over the oil market, and importance in the Arab and Islamic world, the Crown Prince has managed to avoid the threat of international isolation. As relations with the U.S. have deteriorated, Saudi Arabia has deepened its ties with China. Has the United States prepared financial sanctions in the event of a Chinese invasion of Taiwan? U.S. Treasury Secretary Yellen was asked this question at a House Financial Services Committee hearing on June 13. While she did not provide specific details on how the U.S. would respond, she said it would be a collaborative effort with other government departments. A member of the committee expressed dissatisfaction with Yellen's inability to directly answer whether she supports Taiwan's membership in the International Monetary Fund. Yellen stated that attempting to decouple the U.S. economy from China would be a mistake and called for deepening economic ties between the two largest economies in the world. She mentioned that the U.S. only wants to reduce the risk in the bilateral relationship and has no intention of causing economic harm to China. But she also mentioned potential disagreements that may arise in meetings with Chinese officials, such as imposing additional sanctions on China due to issues in Xinjiang. On June 14, the U.S. House Foreign Affairs Committee held a hearing at 2 p.m. Eastern Time to focus on China's Belt and Road Initiative. The committee invited senior officials from the State Department, Department of Commerce, and U.S. International Development Finance Corporation to explain what efforts the U.S. government has made to counter China's coercive Belt and Road diplomacy. U.S. Secretary of State Blinken will visit Beijing on June 18 and 19. U.S. State Department spokesperson Miller downplayed expectations of a major breakthrough in U.S.-China relations during Blinken's trip at a regular press briefing on June 14. However, he emphasized that it is very important for the U.S. and China to communicate directly so that competition does not escalate into conflict or confrontation. Assistant Secretary of State for East Asian and Pacific Affairs Daniel Kritenbrink stated that the U.S. does not expect significant breakthroughs during Blinken's trip to China, but will push for establishing open communication channels to ensure that competition with China does not turn into conflict. It is expected that the U.S. will have a frank exchange of views with China on issues such as Taiwan and Ukraine, with fentanyl also being a major topic. According to Chinese state media, Blinken will visit China from June 18 to 19. Before his planned visit to China, Blinken had a phone call with Qin Gang, who blamed the United States for the difficulties in bilateral relations. Qin said over the phone that the responsibility for the new difficulties and challenges in Sino-US relations since the beginning of the year is clear. He pointed out that the U.S. should respect China's core concerns, such as the issue of Taiwan. In Washington, U.S. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said that both sides discussed a range of bilateral and global issues and made it clear that the U.S. will continue to use diplomatic engagement to address areas of concern as well as potential areas of cooperation. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police has launched more than 100 investigations into foreign interference cases, including one involving MP Chung Wen-hao, who is suspected of being threatened by China for criticizing Beijing. Many people who have been harassed by China are calling for independent public hearings to confront the issue and find solutions. According to a report from Nikkei Asia, a recent report from immigration consultancy Henley & Partners estimated that in 2023, China will lose 13,500 wealthy individuals, continuing the trend of the past decade in which China has seen an exodus of millionaires. On June 14, the German government released its first National Security Strategy, NSS, report, warning about Russia's aggressive behavior and China's attempts to use economic influence to achieve political goals. The report comprehensively outlines Germany's foreign policy and covers global issues such as climate change and supply chain disruptions. It identifies Russia as the greatest threat, while defining China as a partner, competitor, and systemic rival. When asked about the impact of this national security strategy, German Foreign Minister Baerbock said that the German government will pay close attention to areas where Germany is most vulnerable to China due to its dependence. The Czech President, Petr Pavel, and the visiting Taiwanese Foreign Minister, Joseph Wu, shared a stage on the 14th. Pavel urged countries to unite in support of Taiwan, to maintain and support Taiwan's democracy, and to not let China's will be imposed on Taiwan. Joseph Wu said that Pavel's support is a great encouragement for the Taiwanese. Wu further noted that Taiwan needs the help of European friends to maintain the status quo and peace in the Taiwan Strait. Wu stated that China's strategy is to subdue the enemy without fighting, as described in Sun Tzu's Art of War. In order for Taiwan to maintain a strong resilience and continue to uphold its policy of maintaining the status quo, it needs the help of European allies. In light of the recent incidents where Chinese military aircraft intercepted American reconnaissance aircraft in the South China Sea and Chinese military vessels intercepted U.S. warships in the Taiwan Strait, President Xi Jinping demonstrated his extreme thinking to create a crisis, making the U.S. realize that its close reconnaissance and freedom of navigation would come at a great cost and thereby be discouraged. Retired Australian Army Major General Mick Ryan published a techno-thriller novel, Day War, Onward Taiwan, set in 2028. The story involves the assassination of China's former leader and the new leader's attempts to stabilize the situation by attacking Taiwan while the U.S. is preoccupied with a presidential election and natural disasters. China's largest training ship, the Qi Jiguang, will stay in a Philippine port until June 17. This rare visit of a Chinese naval ship to the Philippines comes amidst territorial disputes in the South China Sea. It raises the question of whether this visit could mend regional relations. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas arrived in Beijing for a 4-day state visit on the 13th. Abbas will exchange views with Chinese President Xi Jinping on the latest situation in Palestine and international topics of mutual interest. He will also meet with Chinese Premier Li Keqiang. Some media speculate that China hopes to play a mediating role in Middle East disputes. The Chinese ambassador to South Korea criticized the government of Yoon Suk-yeol for betting on America's win and China's loss, and said that those who bet against China now will regret it in the future. This statement has sparked outrage in South Korea, further straining the bilateral relationship. A group of 5 lawmakers from South Korea's largest opposition party, the Democratic Party, are currently visiting China. Judge Andrew Chung, a designated judge under the Hong Kong national security law, has recently been accused of judicial plagiarism in several civil cases. Chief Justice of the Final Appeal, Jeffrey Ma, stated that plagiarism is unacceptable and has sternly reprimanded him. Statistics show that from the start of sanctions in 2020 to last year, the restrictions China imposed on 9 Australian commodities resulted in total losses of about 59 billion Australian dollars. However, Australian businesses quickly turned to third country markets to partially compensate for the losses in the Chinese market. Interestingly, trade between Australia and China in iron ore and liquefied natural gas has not been affected by the bilateral relationship fluctuations. Hitachi Johnson Controls Air Conditioning, a subsidiary of Hitachi, manufactures most of its air conditioning units in China, with only 30% produced in Japan. However, due to disruptions caused by the pandemic in 2022, the company intends to increase its production in Japan. Indian media reported that the Indian government requires key positions at Chinese smartphone manufacturers like Xiaomi, such as CEO, CFO, and COO, to be held by Indian nationals. On June 12, Pu Yonghua, a senior executive of a Chinese photovoltaic company who was preparing to attend the European International Solar Technology Expo, was taken away at Munich Airport. It's reported that this incident could be related to violations of previous price promises and that some companies that violated regulations need to pay back taxes. Recently, a village football match in Rongjiang County, Guizhou Province, China, became an internet sensation. The teams, consisting of people from different professions such as fishmongers, excavator drivers, and teachers aged between 15 to 40 years, competed fiercely, with minority ethnic group dances during the intervals. The vibrant atmosphere attracted many fans to watch the game. Following the incident where a female principal was seen holding hands with a senior executive from a Chinese state-owned enterprise, the dress she wore became a hit. A live streamer from Gree's official store on Douyin, wearing the same dress, was questioned by netizens. Gree responded that this was the personal behavior of an outsourced team member, which the company does not support. That's today's news roundup. We hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We'll see you next time. Take care.